imagine what situation are you now in? Okay? Okay, so 1 minute and you can take turns for another 1 minute. So you can present yourself. So
hello and welcome to today's program. Every year, thousands of students from China, India, Brazil, South Korea, and many other countries flock to the United States to receive advanced university education. Most of them intend to remain in the US after graduation and search for work.
If I can work in the United States for some years, I'll get some experience in working in overseas.
Because if you find a job here, you can compensate your tuition and fee very quickly.
Here you may have a better work-life balance.
But the assistant director of the International Student Career Center at the University of Illinois on Yuan Park says finding a job for international students isn't easy.
I would say it's very tough.
Park says, according to government data, in 2010, U.S. employers wanted to hire over 200,000 international employees, but the quota set by the government was only 85,000. That makes for a very competitive situation for those who are seeking jobs.
2 out of 3 applicants for the work visa called H-1B visa should go back to their countries.
Apart from the visa issue, international students face many other obstacles while looking for jobs. Students say they sometimes face trouble while interviewing for jobs because of language barriers and culture differences.
Sometimes they expect students to be more open or maybe more showing confidence in a way that for us Asian students especially are not really familiar to us.
When there is career fair or a company visit, and then you have to talk to the recruiter, and then sometimes I don't know what to say.
Moreover, international students who study different majors might face different problems. Assistant Director in Graduate Career Center at University of Illinois, Catherine Erickson, states that students from the science and technology majors have an easier time in finding jobs.
It's easier for those students to receive sponsorship because it's easier for the employer to make the case that they have a unique skill set that they couldn't otherwise find with a domestic employee. For students in humanities and social sciences, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to make that case.
And while Park says there is no discrimination based on nationality, some countries' students have advantages finding work.
Many jobs are got by the people from India, because the Indians can speak English as domestics. They are good at understanding IT business, which is regarded one of the good area for international people.
Indian students Nitika Tapan agrees with the advantage of Indian students in language skills, but thinks the student's major also matters.
I do think I'm more fluent in English, but I'm doing psychology. It's a very not well-paid industry to begin with, so for them to be financing internationals.
Even though finding jobs in the US is tough, international students make many approaches trying to overcome these difficulties.
My first strategy is trying to have domestic experience as much as possible.
Talk to domestic students more, Americans in general.
My network is a network in another school. I know someone in other programs, so they can provide me with some employers who sponsor H-1B.
Based on these techniques and their personal efforts, some international students have found their ideal jobs. Alan Su from Taiwan studies technology management in University of Illinois has already found a job. In addition to his degree, he had 3 years of work experience in Taiwan, and he knew exactly what he wanted to do.
I'm very different from my classmates that I come from a purely business background. But because I love technology and I want to know how technology works, so I have made up my mind before coming to the United States, I need to teach myself how to program a computer, especially for iOS devices. My current job is exactly to work with John Deere as an iOS developer now.
Despite the fact that international students' job hunting in the US is hard, Assistant Director Catherine Erickson believes that we see some positive expectations for the future.
With growth in employment opportunities in the economy, there will be some additional opportunities for international students to gain employment in the U.S.
So while job hunting in the US for international students requires a lot of personal commitment, optimism, and dedication, work in the US is not something impossible. There are a few companies waiting to hire international students, and that number may be expanding in the future. For UI7 News, I'm E.